welcome back to Miss Smith's art class. It is my favorite time of the year. What season are we in right now? I'll give you a hint. We are in fall, or you could call it autumn. Tuesday, September 22nd was the fall equinox, so that was the official first day of fall. And there's so many cool art projects that we could make inspired by the season. I want you to go outside and go on a walk and collect leaves. Anything that you find interesting. It could be the shape, it could be the color, it could be the size. Just walk around outside and start collecting leaves. You had fun getting outside, walking around and looking for cool leaves. These are some of the ones that I found in my yard that I thought were interesting. I really liked the shape of this one. And look how different it looks on the two sides. I loved the colors, the bright yellow of this. Yellow is my favorite color. And I tried to get ones that were different sizes and different shapes so I had a good variety. After you find your leaves, you may notice that they're not exactly flat, but when they're wet, they are flat. So when leaves dry, they kind of crumple up a little bit. And I was thinking, man, I really want them to be flat so I can focus on the shape. Well, I've got a good trick to show you. You can actually flatten your leaves very, very easily. All you'll need is some paper. I actually am going to use my sketchbook, so it's got lots of paper in it, and that will help me. So if you have a sketchbook or a notebook, that would work out great. So just open it up to some new pages, and you're going to pick the leaf that you want to flatten, and you're going to dampen it. So right here I have a wet paper towel, and I'm going to go on top and just kind of sponge it. Dab it a little bit, get it wet. I'm still trying to be fairly gentle with it. Try to get both sides, that will help it. So again, I'm dampening my leaf here. And then you want to lay it down in between your pages and close up your book. Press down hard. In fact, I put my laptop computer on top and a huge stack of books, and I let it dry overnight. And then when you wake up in the morning, your leaves will be perfectly flat. So these are some of the ones that I flattened last night. Just look at how that worked. It's a big difference between these two. This is going to be easier for me to trace and draw for our project. Like I mentioned before, there's so many different kinds of art that you can make inspired by fall. So the first one we're going to do is you're going to pick one of your leaves, your favorite one, maybe the one you think has the most interesting shape, and you're going to draw it really big. So I might challenge myself and pick one of my smaller leaves. So I really like this one. I love the shape. So I'm going to zoom in close and see how big I can draw this little teeny tiny leaf. The materials you will need for this part of the project are paper, pencil, and then whatever kind of coloring materials you would like to use. I like to outline in Sharpie so that my shapes stand out really well, and then I might use a variety of things like markers or colored pencils, crayons. You can choose what coloring materials you'd like to use for this. We are going to start by sketching. Sketching is a little bit different than drawing because with sketching you want to go light, loose, and large. Those are the 3 L's of sketching. So light, don't press down hard with your pencil. Loose, go very softly, work around your paper. Don't get locked into little details. You want to think about the overall shape or the big picture. Speaking of big, you want to go large. So don't just draw some teeny tiny leaf on this big piece of paper. I want you to fill your paper and draw your leaf as large as possible. So let's get started with our sketch. This is going to be based on observation. So I'll be looking very closely at my reference, which is my leaf. All right, I notice that there's a center line. It may not be perfectly straight, but it does go down the middle, so that might be a good place to start. And again, I'm going to go nice and light, loose, and large. See, I even don't hold my pencil very strongly. I go very nice and light. I don't think I'm going to include too much of the stem, so I actually want to start down here with the bottom of my leaf so that I can actually make the leaf as large as possible. So I'm going to do a little bit down here, but I don't want to forget about the other sides. I don't want to get too locked into one area. So at the top, I've got this nice point. It's a little jagged on one side, so that makes it kind of unique, right? Because every leaf is different. So I'm not going to get too into these teeny tiny shapes. I know I'm going to have this sort of large shape here, and then here and here, almost like 3 parts of the leaf. Can you see that? I've got sort of 1, 2, 3. I want to do the large parts first and then worry about those little spiky guys. Okay, so I want this to kind of dip down here maybe and then go up. Can you see that okay? I know it's kind of light. Okay, good. And then I need this to kind of come out and down, and then it's fairly symmetrical. Okay, now that I have my basic shapes, I can go in and really start adding these details. I see some cool kind of spikes here on the side. They still follow the direction of the leaf, so it was helpful to get that big overall shape first. And then up here, cool. Okay, I've got this here, and then up, spiky. Okay, that looks pretty cool for the top, right? And then I'm going to go out, kind of do the same thing here on the sides. Light, loose, and large. I just love the sound of pencil sketching. It means art is being made. That's a good sound. Okay. Great, so I have my basic leaf shape now. Then I could start adding these little details. Do you see those lines in the leaf? I started with that one down the middle, but I also see ones, oh yeah, they go out. They almost look like branches of the tree, as if this were the tree trunk and those are the branches. So I'm seeing 1 and 2 large ones going out to the tip here. So I've got 1 and 2. Remember, I'm not drawing what I think a leaf looks like, I'm drawing what this leaf looks like. So don't get too attached with what you think it should look like. Okay, and then I've got 2 other main veins. I've got boom and boom. So I'm gonna go, looks like up here, maybe, up to that, and then that. Now that I study it closer, it looks like these get smaller and smaller as they go up. And they're fairly symmetrical, just like that. Okay, now I see pieces that go off on the very bottom on those 2 sides. Here and here. Oh, and now if I look even closer, these large veins of the leaf have pieces that are coming out the sides there. So it's like these branch off of the ones that branched off already. You know, now I look at it, it looks like the letter Y. You see that? Or even like V's on top of that. Okay, so I'm going to do that same thing on the other side here. Still sketchy, still loosey-goosey. Okay, looks like those go up. They become a little bit fainter or less pronounced. Great. I think that my sketch of my leaf is basically done. So good job sketching, yay! After you finish your sketch and you have your basic drawing of your leaf, if you choose, you can outline this in Sharpie. I like doing that because it creates contrast and really makes your shape stand out. Chose to outline in Sharpie, you may want to go back and erase the extra pencil marks that are showing just to clean up your edges and have good craftsmanship. The next step is to add color. Color. So why do we love fall leaves so much? It's because of the color. The leaves change from greens into these warm, fiery colors. So our foreground, which is our leaf, is going to have those hot, fiery colors, yellows, oranges, and red. Save the cool colors for the background, and that'll make the foreground stand out because warmer colors go forward in your eyes and cooler colors go back in the distance. So I'm going to study my leaf very closely, and I want to draw or color what I see. I'm not going to get too locked down into like tiny little splotches or tears. What I want to do is get the big fields of color. So one way for me to help simplify this process is to actually squint. because when I squint at something, I can really see the big picture and not those tiny little details. Start with your lightest colors first. Start with yellow and then go into your orange and then your reds. And if you want, you could even add some browns in there. But again, stay away from those cooler colors. We'll use those later in the background. I just finished using my lightest, brightest color, which is yellow. Now I'm going to start blending or shading it into my darker colors. Into my oranges and reds. So there's different ways that you can blend or shade with color. One way is to actually go on top, a little bit on top of your last color. Now I chose my lightest orange here so that it wasn't a big jump, because with this you've got soft changes of color. So if I go into my lightest orange after using my yellow and then I squint at it, it is a soft transition. That gradation doesn't just jump like a stripe. So then I'm going to look for my next color, which is this darkest orange. Uh-oh. I see a huge jump there. What could I do? Aha, I could change the pressure. So I'm gonna go a little lighter with this orange. I'm not pressing down quite as hard. And then I'm gonna do something called blending. I'm gonna go back to that medium orange, or that lighter orange actually, and go back on top and basically mix it together on the page. So I'm layering. I took that darker orange, went a little lighter, and then put that lighter orange on top. That'll help me start fading into that darker orange so that it doesn't have a huge jump in color. So I'm just working on this section right now. I'll do a time lapse on the other ones, but you can see my process here of going from light to dark. Generally speaking, things are often lighter in the middle just because of the way light hits them. So that may not necessarily be true with your leaf. Every leaf is different, just like snowflakes and people, we're all different. But it does tend to have a nice 3D look if it's blended a little darker on the sides. So for the next part, you've got a lot of creative options here. What do you want to do in your background? Before I mentioned choosing cool colors for the background, because we have these warm colors in the foreground, the cool colors would add contrast. So I have picked out greens, blues, and purples to use for my background. And I think I want to create something kind of funky. So my leaf is fairly realistic. Obviously it's way bigger than a normal leaf, but in terms of the drawing and coloring, it's pretty realistic. So I'd like to kind of have a break from reality with the background. So I think I'm gonna do patterns. I could do zigzags to kind of mirror the edges of the leaf. I could do wavy lines, kind of like the wind. Ooh, like a starry night, that'd be cool. I could do polka dots, feeling like the leaves are falling from the sky like little dots. I could do stripes just in different directions. There's so many possibilities. I'll probably play around on my iPad, see what I like, and then start coloring.